Gojo does not waste any time and uses the hollow purple technique at 200% output to kickstart the fight right away. Sukuna reacts to this by breaking a building partially apart and gathering up rubble, just to throw them down to the ground. The strongest sorcerer in history versus the strongest sorcerer of today is about to start for real. Sukuna gets into his stance, and Gojo is getting ready to fight as well. And so their first hits are being given. Sukuna comes and kicks Gojo as Gojo is trying to land a punch on him. They exchange a couple more hits among one another. Sukuna punches Gojo to the ground, but Gojo uses cursed energy to yeet him into a wall. He sticks there for a while, but eventually he gets through the building by the magnetic pole on his body. He gets flung to the opposite side of the building and crashes on a wooden staircase. Gojo wastes no time and rushes up to Sukuna again. Sukuna stands up as the two are now on opposite sides of one another again. Sukuna loses balance as a part of the building is collapsing. Gojo jumps up in the air. Gojo is building up some more cursed energy, and tries to fling the entire thing through the glass walls as Sukuna is getting overwhelmed by the pressure. And it indeed manages to get through the glass. But Sukuna manages to get himself on a different rooftop, regaining his balance. Sukuna is rushing in this time, and Gojo manages to block it off. He now grabs his fist through his cursed energy, and smashes him through the window. Gojo grabs onto a door of all things. As the building collapses and rubble gets all over Shinjuku, Gojo and Sukuna are making the signs. Yoik Tenkai. As a small domain expansion is created. They now find themselves inside the domain expansion. Their domain expansions are literally evenly matched. The gravity is pushing Sukuna's part down. Sukuna stands on top of there and smiles, as it looks like Gojo's neck is about to fall off at any minute now. But he uses reverse curse technique to heal the wound. It's getting even worse now as Sukuna inflicts a stupid amount of damage on Gojo's body. The performance of his curse technique seems better than Gojo's, and Gojo is literally bleeding all over. Gojo tries to make a run for it, desperately trying to heal. And Sukuna kicks Gojo at his liver. Gojo is having none of it and kicks him powerfully in his gut. And he's about to follow up with another punch. Gojo misses his punch as Sukuna slightly dodged it. And now he's backing off. Gojo is about to go back in at him with a simple domain. Quite ironic, a domain within a domain. And he managed to heal his wounds yet again through combining cursed energy manipulation and the reverse curse technique together. They are rushing towards each other again. Sukuna tries to land a right-hand punch, but Gojo dodges it, only to get followed up by a devastating right arm of Sukuna. And he's pulling out the simple domain yet again to heal the wounds again. But he did not have enough time, as Sukuna blocks off Gojo's right leg. Sukuna and Gojo back off, as Gojo is severely wounded again. Is he actually going to lose? Gojo jumps on Sukuna. It looks like he's hugging him. But little did they know that Gojo was actually preparing for a reverse curse technique. Red, he says as he's shooting the curse technique, yeeting Sukuna onto his creation. As the fight is shifting back to Gojo Satoru's favor. Now Sukuna is the one that's wounded. And Gojo healed his wounds yet again. The instant Sukuna expanded the range of his malevolent shrine to its maximum, Gojo expands his domain once again, Yoik Tenkai. Gojo hits Sukuna around the upper leg and blocks his left elbow simultaneously. And they exchange some more hits with each other. Sukuna can use domain expansion and domain amplification at the same time. Gojo hits Sukuna right on the face with a right-hand punch. And Sukuna comes back with a left as Gojo ducks. And now he punches his left arm into Sukuna's liver. Gojo's sure hit effect has no effect anymore. The domain collapses, and Gojo gets pushed back. He's changed the conditions of his domain. The wounds look to be shallow. And Gojo uses another domain expansion. The domain is becoming so incredibly tiny it's almost funny. The domain is going crazy. And it shatters yet again. But Sukuna's malevolent shrine is growing. Sukuna suddenly has a hole in his chest. Sukuna jumps up towards Gojo, but Gojo doesn't let Sukuna catch him that easily. And Gojo dodges Sukuna's attacks with ease. Now Gojo is under Sukuna's pressure. But he manages to catch up to Sukuna anyway. And he hits Sukuna with his right leg. Sukuna blocks. And he backs up as well. Yoik Tenkai, they pull up their domain expansions simultaneously again. And now Gojo goes in with a barrage of punches on Sukuna as he tries to block it all off. Gojo slides to the right, and Sukuna jumps up. Gojo flings Sukuna into his malevolent shrine yet again. Through cursed technique. And now Gojo is pulling Sukuna back towards him. And tries to punch him in the gut again, but Sukuna blocks it off with incredible reaction time. They're both smiling now as the malevolent shrine collapses. And they back off again. It was the same thing again, Sukuna, with almost half of his head completely crushed. You can literally see one of his eyeballs crunched into his skull. And Gojo hits him again. Sukuna gets back against something that looks like it's made of metal. And they're doing it again. Yoik Tenkai. They are in their domains yet again. Just how many times are we going to see it in this fight? And Gojo succeeds in giving Sukuna the same chest punch again. The malevolent shrine collapsed yet again. As Sukuna gets at a disadvantage, he pulls out his trump card. It's the 8-handled sword Divergent General Maharaga. Gojo really needs to hurry up and destroy Maharaga, otherwise, it's not looking good for him. Maharaga goes in for a punch and cracks the ground with it. Maharaga goes in for a punch, and Gojo dodges. It's already adapted to the unlimited void. Sukuna heals his wounds with Maharaga right by his side. Gojo desperately tries to use his domain expansion again, but it's of no use because he can't anymore. It's over his limit, and he's bleeding out of his nose now. Sukuna pulls yet another domain expansion. Only to find out that his is exhausted as well, he's literally bleeding out of his eyes. Gojo goes in again and gives Sukuna a good right-hand punch. They both are not showing any signs of giving up yet. Gojo is dragging him across buildings. And throws him off. Sukuna tries to regain balance, and Gojo comes back at him again. He's at that big pile of rubble. Gojo tries to punch him again, but Sukuna dodges it perfectly. Gojo tries to kick Sukuna, but Sukuna jumps up. Suddenly it's looking like there are 5 Gojos. Which is the real one? One of them goes in, and Sukuna thinks he's got the right one. And Gojo blocks his punch. Sukuna hits Gojo back, and he grabs onto the traffic light. Sukuna goes in at Gojo with his left hand, but Gojo dodges it. Sukuna literally grabs the traffic light and throws it towards Gojo. Gojo pushes Sukuna back with his head. Gojo breaks some of the building's pillars with cursed energy. Sukuna jumps on one of the pillars to go at Gojo. As there are these balls orbiting Sukuna, he disappears and reappears. Gojo is swiftly moving to his back. Sukuna tries to go in for a hit with his left leg. And Gojo tries to elbow Sukuna. Sukuna gets flung back, and Gojo goes down with him trying to kick him. And Sukuna received some damage around his waist. Gojo jumps through the wall and sees half of Sukuna's body laying on the floor. Curse technique reversal, red. And he shoots a beam towards Sukuna. He used amplification to minimize the damage taken. But it still hit him pretty good nonetheless. As Gojo gets behind him again. Red was only hit just now from behind, as it was Gojo's plan to make it go around the map fully before hitting Sukuna. Gojo hits Sukuna right in the chest for the 3rd or 4th time by now. And Sukuna is losing consciousness. But that Maharaga thing switches for the 4th time now. And it summons Maharaga. As Gojo Satoru is forced to back off. Gojo goes in at Sukuna with his left hand. Grabs him and pushes him against the wall. Phase, Paramitha, Pillars of Light. Curse technique reversal, he says. A lot of rabbits are coming out and Maharaga gets flung down. Maharaga is trying to make a run for it. Sukuna has regained his consciousness and throws an fire extinguisher right at him. Piercing blood, he says as he shoots a small fast beam. And it hits Gojo's right arm. And Gojo jumps up. Sukuna summons yet another beast. Called Agito. It's a 3-on-1 now. They run up towards Gojo. And Sukuna gets behind Gojo again, readying his piercing blood. Gojo dodges and tries to hit Sukuna. But Sukuna dodges Oswell. Maharaga went in for a punch too and Gojo dodged that Oswell. Now both of the beasts are going at him at the same time. And Gojo shoots red right at them. They both continue coming at Gojo and Gojo backs off a little. He punches through one of the beasts. And Maharaga misses his punch. But he's regenerated so quickly, or she, I don't know. Gojo grabs the tail of one of them and throws her towards Maharaga. Maharaga comes at Gojo. And Gojo dodges again. Now he's coming from above, but that's not working either. Gojo doesn't look worried at all and shows a calm expression. and quickly punches one of them. Gojo loses an arm, and they are both coming at him with full force. Sukuna is getting in between it as well. Flings him back and kicks him hard at his neck. Agito hits Gojo from behind, and Gojo punches him with his left arm against the building. Output maximum, blue as he shoots a beam towards them. Agito looks completely crushed. Gojo goes in at Maharaga with a right-hand punch, and Maharaga backs off behind Sukuna. Sukuna tries to punch Gojo but he blocks it off, grabs his hand and throws him into Maharaga. Maharaga holds him tight and blocks off Gojo's attack, and repels him back. Curse de technique reversale. As Gojo is pointing towards the sky with his fingers building up cursed energy, he destroys big parts of the building. Maharaga goes out the window, and Gojo is coming at Maharaga with his right hand, and it connects as Sukuna gets behind Gojo again, using the piercing blood technique. But Gojo anticipated that and is not alongside Sukuna. Gojo hits Sukuna with a left-hand punch. His piercing blood is traveling towards the remnants of the defeated beast, but it's of no use. Yoik Tenkai Murioke Ujo, as he creates an ginormous domain. He has dataed a lot of buildings in Shinjuku while doing that, and Sukuna has taken a lot of damage. He has lost his left hand and has a big hole in his right knee. Is this fight over now? Yes, the fight is over, but look at this. Gojo is laying in the ground and half of his body is literally gone. What on earth happened to him? This is the biggest plot twist I've ever seen in a fight, and the other half of his body is still standing. As Sukuna explains that his infinity meant nothing as long as it existed within that space, that world, it would all be torn apart. It was a near impossible technique to pull off, but that model proved to be quite effective. You did well, Gojo Satoru. I won't forget you for as long as I live. If you enjoyed this video, definitely feel free to leave a like, subscribe and turn on the post notifications to never miss any of my uploads. The algorithm has recommended you to watch this video next. Now that is it for me, manga readers. I'm out, peace.